being optimistic is a very important thing. It's very important. Having optimism can do you the world of good. There is some proof that being optimistic when, say, you are battling disease, it might just be that extra kick from your subconscious, enlivening your body for you to make it, you know? For you to live. The opposite of dying. But no. Optimism is a dirty word these days, apparently. Optimism is dirty. You don't want to be optimistic about stuff. No. Optimism? What are you talking about? Optimism? No. I ain't into that. That's just whack, bro. Apparently the world is now... the world has a mindset now of, a 15-year-old goth. Which is fine, that's fine. Everyone wants to be all gothy and, doom and glooming and... why not? Why not? Why not be doom and gloom about everything? It's fine. It's fine. So here, the cult of optimism got us into this mess. It's time to embrace pessimism. That's right. Oh, the cult of optimism. Boo! Pessimism. We must embrace pessimism. Because pessimism is just the best outlook you should have on life. Just be pessimistic. Wake up in the morning and go, oh, today's going to be absolutely shit. And then just go back to sleep. And then that'll be everybody just waking up in the morning. No, it's shit today. I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm just going to sleep all the time. And in my dreams where I can fly and have sex with the woman of my dreams. Who's obviously because it's in your dreams. And that's all you're going to do. That's it, really. That's it. So, yeah. Great. So what is this, David Olusoga? Olusoga. God. I'm not speaking with a lot of English people these days, so my English is deteriorating rapidly. This is the most English I speak is on video. So, give me a break. Complacent attitudes of everything will turn out all right are misplaced when the country is confronted by crisis. It's not about, it's not about being complacent, you see. I think you're getting a bit mistaken. It's not like you're going to say, oh, obviously this is about Brexit and shit, isn't it? Like, what else is it going to be? It's not just going, oh, everything's going to be fine. No, you give yourself that mindset of, like, everything's going to be fine. And then what you do is you implement and you work hard. You work towards everything being fine. Do you know what I'm saying? So it sort of motivates you in the morning. Go, everything's going to be great today because I'm going to do this, and this. That's how it works, man. But obviously we're maybe talking about slightly different things here, but when historians write the last pages of their books and the producers of history documentaries sit down to edit the final minutes of their programs, they mean films, and there's no good documentaries on TV. What was very good opening sentence. Wonderful. Wonderful. You probably feel like, how should I start this? I need to start this prophetically. I need to conjure an image of a dystopian future type situation. Okay, that's cool. There is often a strong urge to look to the future and emphasize the positive. That impulse is at its most acute when the subject of the book or documentary in question is British history. The classic formulation is something along the lines of Britain and her institutions. Why is Britain a woman? Like, who? Like I said, people refer to the EU as a woman as well. Like, ships, cars, I'll have that. That's fine. We start talking about countries as women. And like fucking hurricanes. Why are they all birds? I like the fact that the British named storms after men. I think it's good. Because, women can't be like everything. Not everything can be a woman. Do you know what I mean? It's silly. Britain and her institutions are remarkably adaptable. The nation has survived 2 world wars and endured the loss of empire. We will surely cope with whatever the future has in store. Roll credits, press send. everyone down the pub. What a wonderful picture he's painted. I can see myself doing that. The past 3 years have left many of those final chapters and closing scenes in need of urgent rewrites. Brexit, the rise of populism, well, there's a link there, but he wrote that, and the constitutional crisis in which we are still utterly ensnared, despite the passing distraction of the Tory leadership circus, undermines that sort of blithe optimism. Oh, the passing distraction of the Tory leadership circus. A bit like, hey, do you remember those distractions? Do you remember those 3 terrorist attacks? Or 4, about 4 that happened in a row, Ariana Grande, London Bridge and all that. Yeah, no one's talking about Brexit then, were they? Hey? Go on, get your conspiracy brain working. Go on. Yes. Right. Now is not the time for upbeat endings. It is a moment to make the case for an ever unpopular and always controversial sentiment. Pessimism. But pessimism has an image problem. Oh, I wonder why. It'd be like, rape and just all the negative things out there. Just have bad image. We need a PR company. Where's a good PR company when you need one? Someone to revamp these things. Make certain things acceptable again. Like being a creepy uncle. It's got a bad rep, hasn't it? Where's the PR firm? To help us with this. Anyway. To describe someone as a pessimist is to issue an insult, whereas to be labelled an optimist is to get a pat on the back. To dismiss someone's argument as pessimistic is to suggest it is the product of personality disorder rather than careful analysis. What? No. Because even if something's going to be really fucking bad, right? If something really bad is like, you've already brought up the wars, okay? Right. I'm sure everyone was like, oh, this is going to suck dick. What kept people going? I don't know. When you're embroiled in a war for like 5 years and, your home city's being bombed to shit regularly and all your loved ones are going off to fight and dying and you're like, after 1 year, you're like, how much more of this can I fucking take? Well, you have to be optimistic because it must be very difficult to be optimistic during that period of time. It must be ridiculous to be optimistic about it. Going, fuck me, this is just never ending. This is horrendous. It just won't stop. Like, when will this stop? God, you wake up in the morning and go, God, what am I going to do today? Eat shitty rations. You can't. They had rationing. You couldn't even numb the pain with good stuff because there wasn't any. There wasn't even any good stuff. It's like, I could really do with some pain numbing. A chalky bar, some booze. I was like, no, it's rationing. You gotta eat this cardboard and shit. That's it. Fuck. I could do it just, staying in bed and, getting my brains banged out. But my husband's, in a trench somewhere, probably getting bummed up the ass because he's getting some. Do you know what I mean? It's shit, but like you have to have some optimism, even though things because it's like even the points during the war. It's like, fuck, we might lose. I think we're going to lose this. We're going to lose this war. Like that happened. They were going to surrender before Churchill gave his speech. His rousing speech. They were thinking about surrendering because it was like, we're fucked. But you didn't. But you got to be optimistic. I think you're missing the fucking point of how terrible it is. This is Brexit. You want to compare Brexit to the fucking Second World War? You're a lunatic. That's all I can say. You're an absolute lunatic. You're a lunatic. Sort your life out. Really. Go talk to someone. Even if it's that weird BetterHelp thing that's apparently a scam. It's better than nothing. Where was I with this nonsense? The lazy stance is easy to adopt and often highly effective in debate. It is what Boris Johnson clumsily and desperately attempted last week while floundering against Andrew Neil. Why this defeatism? Why this negativity? He blustered in a pitiful effort to draw attention away from his demonstrable ignorance of his own Brexit plan. Don't analyse. Stop identifying flaws and inconsistencies. Just be optimistic. Rejoice. Yeah, why not? Why the fuck not? Like, come on, man. Come on. Come on, you big, you bad news bugbear, motherfucker. The prevailing cult of optimism, or the cult of optimism, reinforces the belief that Britain's institutions, Parliament, the civil service, and that jumble of conventions and archaic procedures that are what passes for constitution, will inevitably weather any future storm. Well, it's not been a great week for the civil service. A police investigation has been launched into a leak apparently designed to bring down our ambassador to the most powerful nation on earth, followed by his public defenestration by the PM in waiting. Month by month, our constitution has been proved unfit for purpose, and Parliament's physical decay is increasingly turning it into a vast scaffold-covered metaphor. I just got so bored reading that bit, I can't be bothered to comment on it. A musty, chintzy kitschness lingers about the Palace of Westminster. A cabbagey care home smell wafts along in neo-Gothic corridors. Well, what a lovely way of using words. You're wasted here. You really are. You should be writing, novels and shit. With Johnson refusing to rule out bypassing Parliament with his threatened prorogation and his opponents discussing setting up a rival assembly across the road, you have to really want to see the Mother of Parliament's cup as half full. The unlikely patron saint of this form of optimistic national exceptionalism is Winston Churchill, a man who suffered bouts of depression and spent a decade in hospital in political wilderness for pessimistically predicting a global catastrophe. Well, what's your point? Alright, he had bouts of depression, but fuck me, did he get people, feeling good? I don't... Look, Gary Vaynerchuk is fucking some manic depressive. If Gary Vaynerchuk secretly every night goes and just fucking cuts his wrists, it's like, oh, Jesus, what is wrong with me? I don't care. I don't care, because, his optimism and his everything about him is infectious. So it's a good thing. Do you know what I'm saying? I know this camera angle makes my forehead... I swear my forehead's getting bigger, Anyway, whether we like it or not, I don't know, what was he saying? Breezy optimism of Johnson and his cabal, and to go by run of form, optimism is on a losing streak. Optimists confidently predicted Trump would mature in office, and they have repeatedly administered the last rites to Nigel Farage's political career and failed utterly to identify the risks that led us into our current age of anger and chaos. What? Whether we like it or not, there are moments in history when pessimism is the appropriate response. Times when, as the German philosopher Oswald Spengler said, optimism is cowardice. Well, good for you, Spengler. What is needed now is not a nameless, unreasoning, unjustified form of pessimism that paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance. To quote Franklin D. Roosevelt, you're quoting a lot of people today, aren't you? But a sobering and energizing pessimism. It is necessary because the cult of optimism, the original source of our national complacency, is in itself a clear and present danger. The Brexit project exploited our cultural predilection for optimism. I don't know what that means. Leave was painted as an optimistic choice. Now, when the Brexiteers are not promising us adequate food, they are peddling another brand of optimism. No matter what happens at the end of October, they tell us we'll be all right. After all, if we can make it through the Second World War, we can survive Brexit. One of the many holes in this "there'll always be an England" line of argument is, of course, that 500,000 British people didn't make it through the Second World War. So what? You think people are going to die? Shut up. I was like, well, the Second World War would have been much better, but let's be honest. I mean, a lot of people died. What's your point? That reality is perhaps why the support for Remain was high among a demographic that is rarely mentioned. The simplistic belief that the old voted Leave and the young voted Remain ignores the fact that most elderly, the people that actually remember the Second World War, who fought and suffered in it, were far more likely to oppose Brexit, according to some research. Oh, some research? By who? Some research. Okay. When the baby boomers, a generation brought up watching war films rather than cowering in Anderson shelters. Yes, but the baby boomers did grow up in tough times. I think, a lot of people shit on the baby boomers. Millennials and boomers. Everyone fucking hates them, don't they? Yeah, well, Generation Z are pretty cringy at times, you know what I'm saying? They fucking, come on. Boomers would have grown up during rationing as well. Do you realise that? Like, my mum is that generation, and she grew up in like a decade of rationing. She was born at the end of the war and grew up on rationing. Like, she tells me stories about the first time she ate a fucking Bounty bar and when bananas came back. Like, oh, it was amazing. Like, it wasn't a super cool time. And is it that surprising that the most privileged generation to have ever lived harbour less pessimism than their parents or their children and grandchildren? Is this right? The most privileged generation to have ever lived harbour less pessimism than their parents or their grandchildren or their children? Well, the boomer generation, the most privileged generation. What? Where are you getting this? Where are you getting this from? Is it true though? I mean, give me some context on that statement, please, Mr. You. It is true that Britain and its institutions have survived past crisis, but often this was because those in charge at a certain point snapped out of the stupor of latent optimism, recognised the dangers circling the nation, and acted. Call it pessimism, realism, or pragmatism. We actually need exactly that sort of awakening now. Yeah, so basically, I mean, it's in the Guardian, so what they want is a second referendum. That's pretty much what he's going for. No surprises there. You know, it ain't going to happen. But what you want to happen is for the government to fucking sort it out. As in, you know, get busy, make some deals, make this work. Come on. That's it. We're not having a fucking second referendum. It'll be the worst thing I've ever you could imagine. You know, I'd rather live 10 years. I'd rather live in. I don't live in England anymore, but I'd rather live in 10 years of fucking of just rationing and misery and poverty than have to listen to any more about fucking Brexit. Because at least you wouldn't hear about it. You'd be like, oh, thank God. But you go, I'm gonna have to sell my kid today, but no one's talking about Brexit anymore. So yeah. See you later, little Johnny.